Mr. Evan Whitten, who played young Jacen Syndulla for us in the Ahsoka series, which was a sequel, well, mostly to Rebels, really. Last time we saw the character was a long time ago, and nobody else has really portrayed the character before Evan. So this is really exciting for Star Wars fans, and I think for him as well. Mr. Evan?
Like this? Oh, okay. Awesome.
And next, we also have Mr. Grant Feely, who played young Luke Skywalker in the Kenobi series. And Freddy in Five Nights at Freddy's, for those of you who've seen that. If you haven't, it's pretty awesome. Check it out. So, young men, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Evan. What is your Star Wars moment? What was the first time that you fell in love with Star Wars for you?
Well, funny enough, it actually started with Star Wars Rebels. I know it's unconventional, but so I forgot where, but then we just started like watching it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I think it was at someone else's house or something. And I asked, like, hey, can we watch Star Wars? And that's when my dad showed me the original trilogy. And then I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then a little bit after that, we watched the whole series of Star Wars Rebels for the first time. And it was really awesome. I ended up watching that series like 5 times over.
And who is your favorite character in Star Wars Rebels?
I'm going to go with 3 choices. I think they're all tied. Ezra, Kanan, and Chopper.
Those are really good choices to be tied for. And Mr. Grant, what is your Star Wars moment? When did you fall in love with the saga?
I wasn't a huge fan. I wasn't a huge fan of Star Wars before I was casted in the role. And the director, Deborah Chow, she asked me not to watch any of the Star Wars movies because she didn't want me to imitate Mark Hamill's performance. She wanted me to bring my own thing to the character. So I listened to her, and I didn't watch the movies until after we had finished filming. But after we finished filming, me, my mom, my dad, we watched the original trilogy first, and then the prequels, and then the sequels. And I really fell in love with it when, obviously, the first movie, A New Hope, I just fell in love with the character. And knowing kind of the behind-the-scenes aspect of Star Wars really made me just enjoy that movie a lot more.
That's awesome. So, in Kenobi, there is a really cool scene where you hop on top of the little sand glue there, and you're piloting something. So was that something you did yourself? Was that them saying, hey, go pretend you're flying something, and what were you pretending to pilot?
It was written into the script, definitely. And as I just said, I didn't really know anything about Star Wars before I started filming. But I was just pretending to fly, honestly. And then they did kind of fill me in on, like, later in he flies skyhoppers and stuff like that. So I did kind of know a little bit about that.
So, Evan, we're going to go right back to you. Tell us something special that you got to do on the set of Ahsoka, whether it was a particular scene that you really enjoyed or something behind the scenes, like maybe you got to meet a fellow cast member that you were excited to meet.
Well, that's really hard. There's so many good moments, but just all of the sets were amazing. But I think I have 2 in particular. The Ghost, the cockpit of the Ghost, not only because it was just awesome, there were buttons everywhere and there were little blinky lights. I also got to push the hyperdrive lever on camera, And I don't think that was even supposed to really be there, but Dave was like, yeah, and how about, yeah, you'll pull the hyperdrive lever. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And I just, yeah, it was kind of like a heavy lever, too. It felt like it was really about to take off. And just one more was, like, you know, if you watch Ahsoka, you'll see, like, I forgot what it's called. It's like an abandoned Jedi temple with all these rocks everywhere. And that's where Ahsoka had the big battle with Cad Bane. And I remember it being so cool. Like, the set was, like, so lifelike. And honestly, like, I would just have easily believed this was a real Jedi place, you know? And there were, like, these rocks everywhere that I noticed kind of looked like cats. And they were just everywhere. And, like, the center had this little orb. It was just so cool. Like, the attention to detail was amazing.
Did they have any of the trees that were in there, or was that something they put in later?
Well, I think the background, the outer, just, like, really far out, they just put, like, a blue screen there. But just trust me, most of it was real. The rocks were real. The whole circle was real. I mean, sure, we weren't, you know, over an ocean, but still, it was very immersive.
Did you get to pick up the map? Did you get to grab the map to Treasure Planet?
Unfortunately,
I mean, Peridea.
it was glued in place.
Until that lightsaber got through it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And Grant, what was one of your favorite moments from the making of Kenobi, whether it was a particular scene you did or a moment you had with a fellow cast member?
I really liked, like Evan said, the sets were just amazingly detailed. Like, I remember the first time I walked onto Tatooine, they made Tatooine a real set in this big mining pit in North LA, and they built a bunch of buildings and houses and markets and stuff like that, all in that, like, kind of Tatooine vibe. And I just walked in there, and it was so immersive and amazing, and it was crazy. And it really helped actually to get into character, to be able to just be in that kind of surroundings. It helped.
That's really cool. Did you ever get to go to Tosche Station at any point?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh, that's a real shame. That's a real shame. Back to you, Evan. Who would you say was your favorite cast member to work with on the set of Ahsoka?
Well, of course, my other mom was great, Mary. And Rosario was also, like, really fun. You know, she was just fun to be around. Unfortunately, like, I only worked with her for, like, one day, but she was really cool. And then, of course, Chopper was probably my favorite. And he just, like, every part of him could move, even the little satellite dish, the little arms, like, everything was, like, he felt very real. And it wasn't CGI at all. Like, every bit of him was real. That was a real robot. And, like, he was practically just Chopper, the droid. And, of course, just working with Dave and John was also really great. And just, I actually got to meet them and talk to them, and I felt really special. I'm just really glad about all that.
And Mr. Grant, what was perhaps your favorite cast member to work with on the set of Kenobi?
I couldn't choose, like, a big cast member to work with, but I remember the first day on set, it was the marketplace scene on episode 6, and it was where I go into the marketplace and I order some stuff, and the clerk behind the counter, he was in full costume, and he looked like a real creature, and he had puppeteers moving his mustache. So it was very, very hard to concentrate on the acting scene even when he wasn't talking, his mustache was just moving up and down, up and down. And it was hard to hear in his suit, and he couldn't talk either, so he had an earpiece, and it was delayed. So I'd say a line to him, and then he would take a second, his mustache would move, and then he'd say the line. So that was really fun and really memorable, and he'd probably be my favorite.
Mr. Evan, if you could pick any Star Wars character ever, even if it's the one you're already playing or have played, who would it be?
It's like any Star Wars character to be. Okay. Well.
And age is not a factor here.
Okay.
Ignore your yourself as it is. You're told you can be any character you want. Who is it?
I think I'd have to be Ezra Bridger because he's just pretty cool, and also his lightsaber, of course, has always been my favorite lightsaber ever since I was like 5. It's underrated. It works as a gun too, but also a lightsaber, and it kind of looks like a little like saber for fencing. It just looks really awesome.
And Grant, if you could be any Star Wars character ever, who would it be?
I think I'd have to pick Darth Vader, which I think is a little ironic since I played Luke Skywalker, but I just love Darth Vader, especially in the original movies and in Kenobi. He's very, very cool. He's by far my favorite character, and I really like the dark side. I honestly think it's cooler than the light side. No.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay.
So yeah, I'd have to pick Darth Vader.
That's a great choice. Mr. Evan, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Power off. What is your favorite Star Wars movie, show, or other piece of media?
I mean, I've already been talking about this a lot, but Star Wars Rebels, it's just, as I said, I've watched it like 5 times, the whole series, and it's just so great, and I have like a lot of core memories with it, so I just gotta go with that.
And you, Mr. Grant?
I'd have to say The Mandalorian. I loved it. I watched it with my mom while we were filming Obi-Wan. It was one of the few things of Star Wars that we could watch because we couldn't obviously watch anything with Luke in it. And yeah, it was just really cool. It was a new story, and I just thought, yeah, it's my favorite.
And Mr. Evan, how did we get the role of Jacen Syndulla? How did that happen?
Well, do you want me to tell you like how Jason like came into the story, or like how I became Jason?
How you became Jason?
Well, I basically got an audition, and I heard it was for Star Wars. I'm like, oh my gosh, like freaking out, of course. And then our original plan was that it was gonna be young Ezra. We started like speculating like this could be young Ezra or like something like that, because I figured like I was too young to play Ezra, and so maybe young Ezra, who knows? And I personally think that playing Jason was like a much better role than I ever could have expected. Like honestly, I was like setting my standards low, and then they just came at me with Jason. I'm like practically a new character for me, and I'm like, wow, thank you so much. Like it's crazy.
No, thank you for bringing that character to life for all of us. And Grant, how did you get the role of Luke Skywalker?
It was a very long audition process. It started, I don't remember, probably started around March or April of 2021. And an audition came in, and it was for Untitled Disney. I didn't know the character. It was fake sides, which is basically it was a fake script, and I knew nothing about it. I assumed it was something for like Disney Channel. So I did the audition, I sent it in, and I didn't think about it at all. And then I got a call back for it, and I did callback after callback, and then I still didn't know what it was at all. And I was actually on a family trip to Hawaii, and I got a call. Well, my mom got a call. I didn't get a call, but they wanted to fly me to LA for an in-person audition, and so we left Hawaii and went straight to LA, and that was the moment we kind of figured out what it was for. My mom was in the hallway, and she saw a guy who was actually at this Comic-Con, Dimitri. He does the walk for Darth Vader. She saw him walking down the hallway, and she kind of, in her brain, she connected the walk to Darth Vader, and she kind of knew. And yeah, after that, I don't know, I waited weeks, and I got the part. And we had been speculating that entire time what it was. We searched Star Wars projects that were filming right then, and it wasn't until Deborah Chow offered me the role that we knew it was for Luke Skywalker.
And Mr. Evan. Was this your first acting role, or did something come before Ahsoka?
Well, yeah, actually. Well, previously I did like shows like The Resident and Next, and that was when I was younger. And then I think like right before Ahsoka, I had just finished a movie called Chupa on Netflix, and yeah, I was like a lead role in that. I played Alex, and it's a really cool movie. You know, it's about a chupacabra, but it's not like scary. It's like an endearing adventure movie. So, yeah.
Really cool. And Mr. Grant, was this your first acting role in the Kenobi series, or did you have something else before this as well?
It was definitely my first big acting job. I was in a few smaller TV shows and productions in smaller character roles. Like I was in this show called Creep Show on Prime Video. I was in like one episode. And funny enough, each episode is like split in the middle, and there's 2 different episodes in one. And I found out, this was after I did the Luke Skywalker, when it was coming out, actually, that the episode was split with a Mark Hamill episode, that I thought it was kind of funny.
Well, George himself would always say, Star Wars is like poetry, it rhymes, and so is the case in life, I think.
Guess so.
Do we have any questions from the audience for these nice young men over here? Yes, sir. Did Dave Filoni tell you anything at all about Jacen?
Well, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, sorry. Well, originally there was like an audition process and stuff. It was only till the very end where we did a little Zoom meeting with Dave and John and me, and they kind of just, talked about Jacen, like his role. And then I started piecing it together like, oh, I know who this is. He is at the last 30 seconds of Star Wars Rebels. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a Star Wars Rebels character. And like, yeah, and I think my parents kind of figured it out before me. And we went through the entire series just to get to that very end. And I'm like, oh, there I am.
Grant?
Well, obviously Luke Skywalker, you know, everyone knows him. I wasn't told anything. Deborah Chow basically just said to act like a normal kid just in this world. And yeah, that's basically it.
I think you nailed it. Circling back to that scene I was talking about earlier, I imagine the direction was pretend you're flying some kind of ship and have fun, and I feel like it translated really, really
Yeah.
well, especially when you had the goggles and you were just getting like really into it. You're just turning super hard with it. I gotta say, you guys are just living the dream. I know every single person in this room in this convention would love to be in the position you guys are in, and it's so amazing that, y'all got to play these characters at the age that y'all got to play them, because the sky's the limit from here, and you're going to get to go on and meet a lot of incredible people and meet some other talented people, and who knows, sometime in the future, you guys are going to be those actors teaching the next generation of young actors and showing them the ropes too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending the Star Wars The Next Generation panel. Thank you so much to Evan and Grant here for being with us this weekend. Guys, we have a giveaway. And it's right here. So we have from our friends at BigBadToyStore.com a Mandalorian and Grogu from Mafex. And we are going to ask one trivia question, and whoever gets it right is going to win this awesome item. And I'm going to let Evan ask this one, okay?
For the prize of the Star Wars Mandalorian action figure, who is Jacen Syndulla's father? Oh, wow. I didn't even finish my question. Okay.
What's that?
That is correct. Kanan Jarrus.
Come on.
Yeah, Thank you. That was awesome.
Congratulations. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Guys, throughout the weekend, come meet Mr. Evan Whitten and Grant Feely. They will be in the signer room all for the rest of the weekend. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
And may the force be with all of you, you rebel scum.